Hello, welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. On this week's presentation, we bring you highlights of the interfaith service that marked the start of this year's Agriculture Month celebrations. You know, every year, October 1 to 31 is the month set aside to celebrate all the achievements being made in agriculture in terms of moving the industry forward, moving the sector forward. Guyana is, of course, leading the charge for the region, and of course CARICOM is looking to Guyana to provide leadership in moving Guyana and the region forward, reducing imports to the region by 25% by the year 2025. Not a lot of time left, but all the countries are working in a concerted effort to ensure that they are able to up production levels, especially here in Guyana, and so that we can all help each other reduce the import bill for the region by 2025. So we started off this month's celebration with the interfaith service. There was a celebration of the anniversary for Hydromet, lots of other things happening at the level of the agencies of the Ministry of Agriculture, but as we progress we will be bringing you highlights of those events as and when they occur. I am Christopher Holder, and of course this program is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Berbice. We will be back after these messages. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture. Here's an important notice. Do you know that it is illegal to import, store, distribute, sell, and purchase antibiotics without a license or prescription, as the case may be? According to the Antibiotic Act of 1952, owners of livestock and other animals are not permitted to purchase and use antibiotics unless prescribed by a veterinarian. It should be noted that the misuse of antibiotics could result in the development of resistance to the very antibiotic, which in turn will pose health risks to the animal and to humans. The GLDA advises that farmers should not administer antibiotics to animals unless prescribed by a veterinarian. Non-compliance with this act will result in fines and imprisonment. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. Leave no one behind. Better production, better nutrition, better environment, a better life. The theme of this year's celebration of World Food Day, Sunday, October 16th at the Albion Sports Complex ground. This event is a collaborative effort between the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the Ministry of Agriculture, and will feature a formal program and an integrated exposition of agricultural produce and products within the setting of Berbice Expo 2022. World Food Day booths will feature agriculture in its many forms: fresh produce, agro-processed foods, byproducts such as craft, and a whole lot more. A variety of foods prepared by the various partner organizations will also be there for sampling. World Food Day 2022, October 16th, Albion Sports Complex ground in Berbice. Don't you miss it. Agriculture Month 2022 is now on the way, a celebration of the advances being realized in the agriculture sector here in Guyana. In his message to mark this year's celebration, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said a thriving and robust agriculture sector is not just critical to Guyana, but also for CARICOM and the international community. For this reason, he said, the government has initiated a number of transformative programs and projects in the agriculture sector to ensure its resilience and sustainability. These programs and projects are intended to benefit the farmers directly and enhance Guyana's agricultural diversification program. Agriculture Month is being observed under the theme Championing Food Security through Innovation, Investment, and Resilience. On Sunday, October 2, Minister Mustafa participated in a fitness walk from the GLDA head office to the public road and back. On Monday, the annual interfaith service to launch the month of activities was held in the compound of the Ministry of Agriculture on Regent Street. Speaking during that event, Minister Mustafa took the opportunity to laud the efforts of the staff of the Ministry of Agriculture, all of whom he said contributed to the successes being enjoyed in the sector over the last 2 years.
And when I said more importantly, because I consider all of us to work as a team. And over the last 2 years, I want us, all of us, to put our hands together to ensure that we consolidate that team that we have started when I became Minister of Agriculture. And over the years, we heard Madam Chair talk about agriculture, the development of agriculture over the last 2 years. And because of our work at this ministry, we have seen a renewed interest today in not only part of Guyana, but the entire Guyana. Today, our sector, the Ministry of Agriculture, and the agriculture sector is being competing with one of the most resilient sectors, the oil and gas sector. And all of us could have remembered 2 years ago, we heard everything about the oil and gas sector. And people were hardly talking about agriculture. Today, all of us must take the credit that we have pushed agriculture, and today agriculture is at a more heights where people now are coming in droves to take up this activity. As we commence Agriculture Month 2022, first of all, I want to join with those staff who have given praise and thanks to the Almighty for blessing us with another fruitful and productive year at the Ministry of Agriculture and within the agriculture sector. A thriving and robust agriculture sector is not just critical to Guyana's future, but also to the CARICOM region and the international community. For this reason, our government has initiated a wide range of transformative initiatives and projects in the agriculture sector to ensure its resilience and sustainability. The theme of this year's Agriculture Month, Championing Food Security through Innovation, Investment, and Resilience, reflects in part the alignment of Guyana's food security goal with that of the region. And you know that CARICOM, the entire CARICOM today, has reiterated that we must reduce the food import bill by 25% in 2025. And if we have to do that, and if we have to reduce the food import bill, the FAO representative and Cardi will tell you that Guyana has to play that leading role. And today all of us must commend ourselves because the entire Caribbean is looking to Guyana for that leadership to lead the agri-food system to reduce the food import bill of CARICOM. And all of us must take that credit because the Ministry of Agriculture has been pushing the President Irfaan Ali food security program, not only in Guyana, but the entire Caribbean. Our ministry has the honor of leading the ministerial task force in CARICOM. For the first time in the history of our country, the Ministry of Agriculture in Guyana is chairing the CARICOM Ministerial Task Force and driving the agriculture agenda of CARICOM. So, since August of 2020, Guyana has been revitalizing and repositioning its agriculture sector to respond to the global food crisis, to boost agricultural investment, to build resilience, including through diversification, modernization, and climate-smart agriculture, foster greater innovation and competitiveness, and protect livelihood now and in the future. As the saying goes, many hands make work lighter. I fully agree with this quote and encourage every Guyanese to work regardless of our race, religion, culture, or diverse background to develop Guyana. Food security and safety is everybody's business. It is a shared responsibility from the farmers to the consumer. As such, it is our job that we have safe and nutritious food for all. Being food secure requires the adaptation of an all-encompassing food system approach, which will help us to become more productive, inclusive of the poor, environmentally sustainable, and resilient, all while being better equipped to deliver healthy and nutritious diets to all Guyanese. Colleagues, the agencies, departments, and international partners play an important role in contributing to the development and achievement of the goals and objectives of the agriculture sector. We should continue to cooperate and stand with each other as a unified body for the betterment of Guyana. Our government will continue to invest in every facet of the agriculture sector while seeking to implement innovative measures to drive sustainable production. The agriculture sector is and will remain the cornerstone of Guyana's economy. And let us all continue to work together to ensure our agriculture sector remains one of the most inclusive and thriving sectors. As we celebrate Agriculture Month 2022, we look forward to bountiful harvests and seeds of prosperity always. Thank you very much.
Also on Monday, Minister Mustapha joined Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo for the distribution of the $150,000 one-off cash grant to private cane farmers at the Windsor Forest Community Center ground in Region 3. The grants amounted to some $44 million in relief money and was distributed to 294 cane farmers across the Essequibo Islands and West Demerara who were affected by the closure of the estate. Later in the week, Minister Mustapha hosted the country representative and team from the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations at his ministry for an exercise in which the organization handed over a quantity of safety equipment for the ministry's Fisheries Department as part of its emergency response and early recovery support to smallholder farmers affected by the 2021 floods in Guyana and Suriname program. The donation, which comprised items such as fuel containers, life jackets, first aid kits, and rain jackets, was handed over to the ministry by FAO's country representative, Dr. Gillian Smith. In brief remarks, after receiving the $9 million worth of safety gear, Minister Mustapha said the fishing industry supports livelihoods of many and remains a significant employer of both men and women in Guyana's agriculture sector, employing more than 9,000 persons directly. Minister Mustapha also noted that the partnership between the Ministry of Agriculture and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, continues to break ground in improving the lives of citizens through meaningful engagements and impactful projects. The Agriculture Minister said that this particular project places additional focus on improving the technical capacity of the Fisheries Department in disaster risk management and is a welcome addition, as the knowledge acquired will be shared with fisherfolk through the various strategic training exercises and field visits. Some 150 fishers from regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are set to benefit from the project. Later in the week, Minister Mustapha met with Jamaican Senator, the Honorable Obin Hill, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation in Jamaica. That meeting took place at Minister Mustapha's Regent Street office. During their engagement, the officials discussed possible areas for collaboration in agriculture and accreditation to gain access to major regional and international markets and retail supply stores. The visiting team were brought up to date on the advances being made on the local agriculture front over the last 2 years and some of the plans the government has aimed at expanding and diversifying the sector. Finally, on This Week in Agriculture, the Hydromet service of the Ministry of Agriculture this past week marked its 57th anniversary with a career day at which students from secondary schools in the region were given an overview of the work of the Hydromet service and the opportunities available for careers in hydrometeorology. Speaking about the observance was Chief Hydromet Officer Dr. Garvin Cummings.
All right, so today is, first of all, Hydromet's 57th anniversary. The service was established on October 5th, 1965. So we're quite an old entity. But today's activity is really to highlight the service and the work of the service. But in addition to that is to share with the young people of the country the career opportunities that Hydromet offers. But there might also be students who may not have an interest in hydrometeorology at all. But hydrometeorology affects every other career. Weather affects everybody, water resources affects everybody. So it's really also to bring a level of awareness with the young people, especially in time of climate change and climate variability. It's really to make young people aware of the impacts of climate change, to have them become aware of what actions they should take to reduce the impacts of climate change and to combat climate change itself. So more than a career in hydrometeorology, is to really bring awareness to the young people in Guyana. So as we move forward as a nation, we have young people who are informed, who are educated on climate and climate science. Hydrometeorology, which encompasses meteorology, hydrology, climate sciences, really impacts everybody, like I said. In this age of climate change and climate variability, being informed, being educated, being trained, having a career in hydrometeorology really allows you to make a contribution to the global trust to ensure that our country, our nations are resilient. We are equipped, we can adapt to climate change. So it is a way of, even though it's a small field, it's a way to make a contribution to the entire world really, because climate, water, weather affects everybody. So when you study, when you work in hydrometeorology or in climate sciences, you're really making a contribution to all of humanity.
The Hydromet chief also spoke of the employment opportunities that currently exist within the organization.
We have a lot of vacancies in Hydromet at all levels, at the entry level, if you have your sciences at CSEC or you have a university degree in mathematics, physics, chemistry, environmental studies, engineering, Hydromet has a place for you.
And what's some positions that one can get into?
Certainly we can start off with meteorology. Meteorology, I suppose, in the service is perhaps the most popular career choice, but we also have vacancies there for persons to forecast weather. We also have vacancies for climatologists, which is a more long-term forecasting to look at the climate science itself. There are also vacancies in hydrology, which is the water science, the water department. We have vacancies for hydrochemists, for meteorological observers, persons that step out and look and see what is happening in the environment and report on it.
Reflecting on the 57 years of hydrometeorology in Guyana, Dr. Cummings noted that the technology has come a long way and continues to evolve.
In some ways, we have fallen short, I guess, in some ways, because the service was, I suppose, integrated a number of different institutions in the past historically. But if you look at how the technology has changed, we have moved from conventional, traditional type of observations and instrumentation to automated systems now, where we have a network of stations that records and reports weather information almost in real time. Historically, we've had stations where somebody had to go out there and observe and record and report, and that report was not in real time, perhaps at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, perhaps at the end of the year. Now we can have that data in almost near real time. I think the service has also grown in terms of the range of services that we can now provide in terms of climate services. We now have not only the daily forecast, but you can go online now and look at the radar and see what's happening in your locale. You can have, now at the end of every month, you have a seasonal outlook for the next 6 months. So you can actually plan ahead. On the water resources side, I think we've had significant investments in improving not only the monitoring network, but also we have in place now a framework that will allow us in the near future to have in place a flood early warning system that will allow us not only to give rainfall forecast but also flood forecast. In addition to that, we are also currently examining the possibility of implementing impact-based forecasting. So we're moving away from saying how much rainfall or only how much rainfall, but what the rain will do, what is likely to do, what is likely to impact, how it will affect traffic, how it will affect aviation, how it will affect agriculture. So that you're not only seeing 50 millimeters of rainfall in a particular location, but what is that rainfall likely to do? How is it likely to affect you, and what actions you must take to mitigate any potential impact? Also on the water research side, in 2019, we had the establishment of the facility right behind us, the Water Quality Lab, which is a really new thing to Hydromet. We've got some young ladies in there who are fully qualified, and they're now expanding our services to look at water quality and water quality monitoring as well, which is a major part of Hydromet's mandate, is the hydro in Hydromet. And so those are significant things. I think we've got, fortunately for us as well, we've got a young batch of staff who, if we manage to keep them together, means that the future of the service is in safe hands. And we have the technology, we have the skills, we have the energy. And I think the service is really in a good place on this 57th anniversary.
Over the last 10 years, seed treatment has been proven to be very effective in protecting rice plants from damage by early season pests such as water weevils, leaf miners, and caterpillars. This protection can last for up to 30 days. In so doing, it allows for better establishment of the rice plants and later no bare spots in the field. Seed treatment also negates the need for using harmful pesticides during the first 30 days of the crop, and therefore allows the buildup of beneficial insects such as the ladybird beetle, damselflies, dragonflies, and spiders, which will later prove useful against paddy bugs at every stage of their life cycle. Seed treatment involves the application of fipronil at 20% soluble concentrate in a spray can to germinated seed. The mix is 1 liter of fipronil to 2.5 gallons of water to treat 10 120-pound bags of paddy. This can be done manually as seen here. The seed is spread on a level surface and the chemical applied using a spray can. It is then turned and sprayed a few times until the farmer is satisfied that he has achieved complete wetting of his seed paddy. Treated seed paddy is then covered and allowed to be incubated or pressed for the normal 36 to 48 hours. Then it is ready for sowing. It should be noted that in treating the seed, farmers applying the pesticide should wear the appropriate protective gear as seen here to protect against the harmful effects of the chemical on the skin or if inhaled.
From 2010, since I started my seed treatment, that's when I started, and have continued. I've never stopped because I've seen the benefit of seed treatment. And I've seen increased yield, I've seen production better because it actually gives you 35 to 40 days that you don't have to go back into the field and do any kind of a pesticide control, because that actually helps you. So farmers, I'm advising you, and I'm giving you that advice because I've been doing this since 2010, and I'd like to see farmers benefit also from these 6 points.
Seed treatment is a critical step in the realization of higher yield. If you have not yet adopted this practice, try it this crop. A message from the GRDB, Ministry of Agriculture. The Ministry of Agriculture invites you to join in celebration of Agriculture Month 2022, a month-long series of activities and events showcasing Guyana's development on the agriculture front under the theme Championing Food Security Through Innovation, Investment and Resilience. This year's celebration kicks off with an interfaith service in the compound of the Ministry of Agriculture on Monday, October 3. Highlights of Agriculture Month this year includes the open day activities featuring the various agencies of the Ministry of Agriculture, farmers' market days across the country, the commissioning of several agro-processing facilities, and a Women and Youth in Agriculture Symposium. There will also be the annual World Food Day celebrations on October 16. Agriculture Month 2022 under the theme Championing Food Security Through Innovation, Investment and Resilience. Visit the Ministry of Agriculture's Facebook page for a more detailed schedule of events. The Ministry of Agriculture is warning members of the public that it is illegal to dump garbage of any kind near to or into drainage and irrigation waterways across the country. The NDIA, the agency tasked with the maintenance of drainage and irrigation in Guyana, has noted that there is an alarming increase in the incidence of garbage getting into DNI waterways and causing blockages in the first instance. But worse than that, the garbage that includes clothing, rotting carcasses, pieces of wood and metal gets past protective grills of the critical mobile and fixed pumps, resulting in damage to the pumps, which have to be taken out of service for repairs, placing communities at risk, especially during the rainy season. The Ministry of Agriculture notes that when this happens, millions have to be spent on repairs to the pumps and on clearing the canals of debris thrown there by irresponsible citizens. The ministry warns that rangers of the NDIA will be on the lookout for those engaging in this illegal practice. Persons caught will be made to face the full force of the law. A message from the NDIA Ministry of Agriculture. Here's an important notice. Do you know that it is illegal to import, store, distribute, sell, and purchase antibiotics without a license or prescription, as the case may be? According to the Antibiotic Act of 1952, owners of livestock and other animals are not permitted to purchase and use antibiotics unless prescribed by a veterinarian. It should be noted that the misuse of antibiotics could result in the development of resistance to the very antibiotic, which in turn will pose health risks to the animal and to humans. The GLDA advises that farmers should not administer antibiotics to animals unless prescribed by a veterinarian. Non-compliance with this act will result in fines and imprisonment. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. Leave no one behind. Better production, better nutrition, better environment, a better life. The theme of this year's celebration of World Food Day, Sunday, October 16th at the Albion Sports Complex ground. This event is a collaborative effort between the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the Ministry of Agriculture, and will feature a formal program and an integrated exposition of agricultural produce and products within the setting of Berbice Expo 2022. World Food Day booths will feature agriculture in its many forms: fresh produce, agro-processed foods, byproducts such as craft, and a whole lot more. A variety of foods prepared by the various partner organizations will also be there for sampling. World Food Day 2022, October 16th, Albion Sports Complex ground in Berbice. Don't you miss it. Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder, urging you to join us again next week, same time, same station, for another presentation of This Week in Agriculture. Until then, be good to yourselves and to each other.